From KQTV St. Joseph, this is KQ2 News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Leinwetter. I spoke with one woman who knew the victim's family and is not only grieving but hoping an investigation will shed some light onto what happened. Some would call the Mark Young Doll Conservation Area the hidden treasure of St. Joseph. And as you can see around me, it's not hard to see why. Pulling into a well-lit public place is often good advice if you think someone is following you. But for one Missouri woman, it only escalated a road rage incident that left her assaulted. Emily, it's called the WannaCry virus. The ransomware takes control of computers and holds data hostage. The only way to get it back is to pay a ransom. It truly was a total solar eclipse party down here at Trails West all weekend long. Around 2,000 to 3,000 visitors were down here taking it all in right in the middle of it all. St. Joseph police say a deadly shooting over the weekend was a tragic accident. According to officers, the shooting on Mary Street Sunday involved a 4-year-old. They say the incident resulted in the death of a father whose identity is still unknown. Tonight, safety experts want to remind the public why it's so important to keep weapons secure if you have them in your home. Behind this closed door, there's a very open conversation going on between St. Joseph community leaders about youth mental health and how to spot the warning signs before it's too late. Trump defied the odds by defeating Hillary Clinton to be the 45th president of the United States. It was a long wait throughout the night until Clinton finally conceded the race. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight on Live at 5. I'm Ellen Leinwetter.
And I'm Mike Brasiano.
And Mike, we have stayed dry for now, but there is some rain on the way.
We do have some rain on the way.
It's been another beautiful day for us. It's starting to feel like early fall in August.
It is.
Welcome back, everyone, and happy Friday. Ryan is here with us tonight from Texas Roadhouse. We have Ryan 1 and we have Ryan 2.
Hello.
And he is showing us how to put together their famous kebabs tonight. We're really excited. The National Weather Service says straight line winds of 75 miles per hour caused some significant damage near Albany. And that's exactly what the Watson family saw when they stepped outside their home this morning.
It was just nasty. I mean, you can see how it snapped the trees. We were pretty fortunate, though, because it could have, if it would have hit the house directly, it would have probably been gone, I'd imagine.
The Watson family of New Hampton, Missouri, are now picking up the pieces of a 75-mile-per-hour storm that tore through their property.
The rotation was coming from the north and south, and we saw it meet at the west over there, and then it just started snapping trees off, and shingles were flying, and took boards off our fence and took the roofs off. It was crazy.
Now the Watsons are in disbelief but thankful that no members of their family or farm animals were injured during the storm.
We're just overwhelmed. There's a lot of work to come, but everybody's safe, so that's all that matters.
You never expect it to happen, and you worry about the animals because you can't get out, and they were in the barn and it took the roof off, and so you just you worry about the safety of everything. I mean, you're in the house, and so that's the biggest concern, is that the animals are safe. We moved here 16 years ago, and that barn was the only thing that was the original of the farm here, so it's kind of sad to see that go.
The storm may be over, but the cleanup process is just the beginning.
It's kind of overwhelming because you don't know quite where to start, and so you just somebody said take a breath and just do one piece at a time.
But the Watsons say no storm can damage their spirit of hope and gratitude.
Everything's replaceable but yourself, so that's probably the biggest thing.
It was this devastating flooding that impacted southern parts of Missouri over the weekend. From Branson to West Plains to Ozark, now volunteers from the American Red Cross of Northwest Missouri are on their way to help.
We are doing what Red Cross does. We're responding to help those families that have been impacted. So our Red Cross chapter in southern Missouri has said, help, we need more people. And so the first thing we did this morning is we're putting our feeding vehicle en route to Springfield to be able to start serving those people that have been impacted.
2 volunteers from the Northwest Missouri chapter are providing relief as part of a disaster relief operation. And although more will be traveling to southern Missouri in the coming days, it's still unclear the total number of how many have been impacted by the flooding, as Missouri Governor Eric Greitens declared a state of emergency.
One of the things that we'll be doing over the next couple days is what we call a disaster assessment, and that's really trying to quantify the numbers. We know that we had about 150 people slept in Red Cross shelters last night. That's 150 people that had nowhere else to go. They didn't have family to go to. They didn't have friends to go to that needed the Red Cross to have safe shelter last night.
The impact of the flooding goes beyond northwest Missouri.
We have staff that are impacted in southern Missouri, so they're not able to provide the response that they would on a normal basis. So that's where we come in, is that we can send our volunteers and our staff to the impacted areas, both in southern Missouri and even on the eastern half of the state, to help those impacted and to help pick up the slack of our staff that are now a part of the relief operation themselves.
For St. Joe native Brenna Scott, it's not the homecoming visit she had in mind. After her and her family, who live in Dickinson, Texas, which is just south of Houston, were forced to evacuate from Hurricane Harvey.
Dickinson was one of the worst hit areas.
That's the sound of Gary Pittman's drone, the retired Rosecrans pilot who can't get away from his love for flying. Now he's putting his skills to the test to help Buchanan and Clinton County Emergency Management on August 21st for the solar eclipse. Gene West works in the St. Joseph School District and meets with at least 5 local children every day struggling with grief or trauma.
We as parents and educators and community members need to be aware of the signs of grief and know what we can do to help our kids.
Habitat for Humanity is known for helping others in need, but now they need the public's help of their own. After $1,000 worth of tools were stolen around 4 a.m. last Saturday.
We are a ministry to serve others. So when you are deliberately, I guess, attacked or feel slightly attacked based on a thief just kind of coming in and taking advantage of our vehicles and what we do.
Paul Davidson has been a Habitat for Humanity volunteer for 7 years and was the first one to discover the broken into vehicle.
It was just very frustrating that now we've got to spend more money to replace those tools, which were on a limited budget anyway.
Davidson is heartbroken that by losing these tools means potentially less people that they can help.
We're here to help the less fortunate and everything, to try to give them a better place, and now we've lost tools to not be able to help build the community up.
Manley has filed a police report with the St. Joseph Police Department, but is hoping the public can identify the thief.
We're able to capture that it looks like he was working by himself. It seems that he knew exactly where he was going and which equipment he would get into. He did make an attempt to get into our additional work trailers and additional vehicles, but he seemed very familiar with where he was going. We're very confident that somebody in the community will be able to identify who this is, and then we can just stop them from doing this to someone else.